Hi, my name is Stephanie Perkins, and we're here today because we're going to do a mock session between myself as the clinician and Samantha's going to be the client. Samantha's problem today is that she is having problems with her parents, and she feels like they're not letting her grow up, and they're having a hard time seeing her as an adult. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to try to see if we can come up with some resolutions to her problem with her parents. See if we can come up with some ideas, some things she can use when she goes back home. So we're going to start the interview process with the introduction. Hello, Samantha.
Hello.
What brings you here today?
I'm having some problems at home with my parents not letting me grow up.
Okay. Now, Samantha, when you talk about they're not letting you grow up, can you give me some examples of how they're not letting you grow up?
Well, I'm 23 and I'm ready to move out and live on my own and see if I can be an adult.
Okay.
That sounds stupid.
No, it doesn't sound stupid because, well, in your mind, let's talk about that. You said you want to be an adult. What does being an adult mean to you?
Living on my own, paying my own bills, taking care of my own responsibilities.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
That's it.
That's it. Okay. Well, let me ask you a question. Are you financially able to take care of yourself without your parents' help?
I believe so.
Okay. So when you talk about living on your own and moving out and paying your own bills and doing some adult activities, have you had that conversation with your parents?
Yes, they just don't feel like it's time. Maybe they haven't prepared me enough yet. They've always taken care of me and done everything for me.
Okay.
But I feel like it's time for me to do it for myself.
Okay. So take me back to the last conversation you had with your parents and you were talking about moving out. Did they give you some things they needed you to do in order for them to allow you to move out? Was there things that they said to you, like maybe when you save more money, maybe when you graduate college, like what did they say?
Well, my mom definitely wanted me to save money up first in order to afford a deposit on a place. Also to take care of the things I need for the house. They're also worried about the location of where I'll be living. It's more affordable to live closer to the city, and it's not as safe there compared to where I grew up.
Okay. All right. So what I'm hearing is they have one of their major concerns is your safety.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when we talk about you moving closer to the city and maybe in an area that's not as safe as where you grew up, can you understand their concern about that?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say you have good parents?
Yes.
Okay. So good parents worry about their children, right? Is that, we can agree on that? Okay. So the way they're acting, it's not out of normal. I didn't say that right, but it's not out of
the norm.
Out of the norm. That's good. So it's not out of the norm, right? So you know your parents love you,
Yes.
and you love them. So what you're really trying to do is to get them to understand that you really need to go out on your own and kind of explore this adulthood, right? So what are ways that can make them listen? Like let's start like this. When you talked to them before, did they get upset?
A little.
Okay. So do you know what you said or what happened that made them get upset?
I think just the idea of me not being at home, where I've always been.
Okay.
Upset. So.
Well, let me ask you a question. How do you think they would react if you made a list? Like where you wanted to move, how much it cost to move in, how much you had saved, then you would talk to your parents about, twice a week I'd come home for dinner and things like that. Do you think a list would work with your parents?
Probably.
Yeah, so a list of all the positives, right? Okay. That's good. So when we talk about a list of the positives and talking to your mother and father about things, do you some of those things would work? Like the list?
Yeah.
Do you?
Mhm.
Okay, and do you think an apartment not as far out might work
Maybe.
better?
Maybe closer to another relative.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Like closer to an aunt or uncle or even cousins, so then you'd have family around.
Mhm.
Because I'm assuming that's a concern of theirs too, is that you won't be as close to them as you were before, right?
Mhm.
Okay, that's good. That's a good idea. Now, are you an only child?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me about your family dynamics. You're the only child. You have your mother and you have your father, and
Yes.
so it's the three of you guys.
Yes.
Oh, so only child. So you guys are extremely close.
Yes.
Okay, and they're extremely protective of you.
Mhm.
Okay, so they treat you very well.
Yes.
Okay, so now we understand why they don't want you so far away. You would probably be like that when you have a child, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's think about things we can do to make them a little bit more comfortable. So we said two things. You said two things. You said not moving as far away is one, and moving perhaps closer to a relative is two. So that's two things you can do to make this process a little bit more comfortable, right?
Mhm.
So another thing I want to talk to you about, when you said you wanted them to treat you like an adult, well, your parents take you out to dinner?
Yes.
Did you ever take them out to dinner?
No.
Would you think you taking them out to dinner would be an adult activity?
Probably.
Okay, so let's think about that too. Let's start thinking about doing more things that suggest that you are an adult. So like taking them out to dinner. Okay. Let's talk about household responsibilities. How are you around the house?
Good.
Are you good? So does that mean you help out a lot?
Yes.
Or do you just keep your space clean?
I help out a lot. My
You-
mom's always at work.
Oh, so you help out a lot. So then that's probably one of the reasons too why it's hard for your mom to let you go, because you've always been a little helper, huh?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so I totally understand how you feel. And I just want to tell you, I really appreciate you sharing this with me, because I know it's hard. You guys are a tight-knit group. So for you to come out of that group and share with me, I want you to know that I really appreciate that. And I really am getting an understanding of how you must feel to be the only child and have basically all the parents' love and attention. So leaving is really not only tough on them, but it's tough on you too, because that's your little safety net right there. So I understand how you feel, and but you also, in me understanding how you feel, it's important that you also understand how they feel. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
And so you know that this would be a difficult process for your parents, right? So just as long as you understand why they're reacting this way, that's good, because what you don't want to do is they're upset and they may get angry. So you don't want to react to that anger with anger, right? You need to react to that anger with understanding. If you can do that, that's a very adult thing, because I think we all instinctively, if they come at you in a negative way, then that may make you want to react negatively. And so then you see how now we have an escalation, but as an adult, your job would be to de-escalate the situation. So when your parents say to you, when they get upset and say, well, we don't want you to go, we don't want this, we don't want that, instead of coming back, maybe you can say, you know what, Mom and Dad, I understand how you feel. And take a moment and pause. And then you come with the but, right? But I really need to do this. So now you said you're only child, both parents. You do have some relatives that are around that you could move closer to. So now tell me, what is your goal? What is your goal? Like, what do you hope to gain from moving out on your own at 23? Away from your parents? What is it that you hope to gain from this experience?
Just like the confidence to know that I can make it on my own and don't always need mom and dad there.
Okay.
to back me up.
Okay. And that's kind of been their job for 23 years though, right? Is to kind of back you up and be there for you. So we can imagine how that must feel. Imagine working on a job for 23 years and then all of a sudden they come and tell you, we don't need you as much anymore. You know what I mean? So you can imagine how you would feel. So it's not hard to imagine how your parents would feel. So one of the things we said we're going to do is we're going to work on a list, right? And you're going to list the pros and the cons. Don't make the cons too bad, but the pros. Tell them, you know, and also a good idea too would be to involve them in your process. Like, you know, Mom, I wanted you to come with me and help you and Dad help me find a place. I want you guys, I want your approval with it, you know, and you bring up, of course, you know, I want to make sure I'm closer to Aunt such and such so I'm not too far away. And, you know, I want you to look. So I think making your parents part of the process might be helpful. What do you think? Do you think that might help?
Yeah, definitely.
You
I think
think?
maybe also finding like a responsible roommate might ease their mind a little.
Yeah, and maybe when you talk about roommates, maybe it should be definitely somebody they know and they feel comfortable with, you know, and that may help. But you know, that's something you can bring up to them in conversation. Would you feel better if I had a roommate? You know what I mean? So basically, I think a good idea would be bits and pieces with the parents, baby steps. You know, like maybe start doing more adult things with your parents. Like, hey guys, I got paid. Let me take you to dinner. And then, you know, start the conversation about places, but baby steps. Like, you know, I still want to move, Mom, but I really want you and Dad to come with me and help me look at places. You know, so, you know, kind of the sweet with the bitter, you know. But definitely make a list of the pros and the cons. And then also what we need you to do is increase your adult activities with your parents. Like taking them to dinner and saying, hey guys, let me take you to miniature golf. You know, things like that, and start the dialogue, start the conversation about the place. But please, I think a good idea is not to go to them saying, I'm moving tomorrow. Let them be part of this process. So, so now you tell me, after our conversation, what have you taken away from this? Tell me what your day's gonna look like tomorrow.
Tomorrow I'm going to make the list of pros and cons and approach my mom and dad in an adult way so that I can make them understand where I'm coming from and let them know that I understand where they're coming from.
Right. Baby steps, right? And so when we meet up next time, you let me know how that goes. And you let me know where we might need to tweak our little plan, or maybe we don't have to tweak it. Maybe we're going in a good direction. And if you have any ideas or any thoughts or any things that you think could make this process easier with your parents, then you let me know. Okay? All right, well, it was great you coming in, Samantha. It was nice meeting you, and I hope to see you again next week.
Thank you.